12 powerful plants that can pack more protein than you think. Opening hook, midnight to 1 o'clock. What if I told you that some of the most powerful protein foods on Earth don't come from an animal? For generations, we've been taught to think of protein as something that mainly comes from meat, eggs, or dairy. But here's the fascinating part. Long before protein powders, fitness supplements, and nutrition labels existed, people around the world were already eating plants that could provide remarkable amounts of protein, minerals, fiber, and other important nutrients. And some of these foods are so ordinary that you may have walked past them in a grocery store without realizing what they can offer. Today, we're counting down 12 remarkable plant foods that deserve a place in your diet. We're talking about familiar foods like lentils and chickpeas, but we're also going much further to hemp seeds, moringa, spirulina, black soybeans, and a few surprising options you may have never considered. And here's the important part. This isn't about saying plants are magically better than meat. It's about understanding that protein quality, preparation, digestion, overall diet, and nutrient density all matter. Some plants can provide impressive amounts of protein while also delivering fiber, antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, and healthy fats. So stay with me until number 1, because the final food is one of the most interesting plant protein sources, and there's an important lesson hidden inside it about how humans have survived and thrived on nutrient-dense food for centuries. Let's begin. Number 1, lupin beans. If you've never heard of lupin beans, you're definitely not alone. But this legume deserves attention. Lupin beans are naturally rich in protein and fiber. Some lupin varieties have been traditionally consumed in Mediterranean regions and other parts of the world. They can be eaten as whole beans or processed into ingredients such as lupin flour. And because of their high protein and fiber content, they're attracting increasing interest as a plant-based food. But there's a critical safety point. Lupin can cause allergic reactions, particularly in people with peanut allergies. So anyone with a known food allergy should be especially careful and check labels. And this is exactly why nutrition should never be about chasing trends. A food can be incredibly nutritious and still not be appropriate for everyone. Number 2, black soybeans. Black soybeans are exactly what they sound like. Soybeans with a dark outer color. And they combine 2 interesting nutritional characteristics. First, they're rich in protein. Second, their dark color comes from plant compounds called anthocyanins. Anthocyanins are pigments found in many deeply colored fruits and vegetables. So you're getting more than protein. You're getting a combination of protein, fiber, minerals, and plant compounds. Black soybeans can be used in soups, stews, salads, and other dishes. And just like regular soybeans, they need proper preparation and cooking. Here's the bigger lesson. Sometimes the most interesting nutritional discoveries aren't exotic foods from another planet. They're foods that have been sitting quietly in traditional diets for generations. And now we've reached number 1. Number 3, soybeans. Soybeans are one of the most important plant protein sources in the world. And unlike many other plant foods, soy provides a complete protein. That's one reason soy has become so important in vegetarian and vegan diets. Soybeans can be transformed into tofu, tempeh, soy milk, edamame, and other foods. And different forms have different nutritional profiles. Tempeh, for example, is fermented. Tofu provides protein while being extremely versatile. Edamame can be eaten as a snack or added to meals. And soybeans themselves can be cooked and incorporated into many dishes. But here's where things get even more interesting. There's a variety of soybean that doesn't get nearly enough attention. It's darker, it's nutrient-rich, and it may surprise you. Number 4, peanuts. Yes, peanuts. Technically, peanuts are legumes rather than tree nuts, and they're remarkably protein-rich. They also contain healthy unsaturated fats, fiber, and several vitamins and minerals. Peanuts have been incorporated into cuisines around the world. They can become peanut butter. They can be roasted. They can be added to sauces. They can be mixed into stir-fries. Or they can simply be eaten as a snack. But there's a catch. Peanuts are calorie-dense. So while they're nutritious, portion size matters depending on your personal nutritional needs. And if you have a peanut allergy, obviously this isn't a food for you. The lesson here isn't eat unlimited peanuts. It's choose nutrient-dense foods and understand how they fit into your overall diet. Now let's move to one of the most protein-rich legumes on the leaves. Number 5, spirulina. Spirulina looks almost nothing like the foods we've talked about so far. It's a blue-green microorganism commonly consumed as a powder or supplement. And by weight, spirulina is extremely protein-dense. That sounds impressive, but here's where we need to think carefully. You don't normally eat spirulina in the same quantities that you eat beans, lentils, or grains. It's generally used in small amounts. So while its protein percentage looks enormous on paper, that doesn't mean you should treat spirulina as your primary protein source. Quality matters too, because supplements can vary. It's important to choose products from reputable manufacturers and follow appropriate serving recommendations. Spirulina is fascinating, but it's not magic. And that distinction matters because health isn't about finding one superfood. It's about building a pattern of good choices. And we're about to reach number 4. Number 6, quinoa. Quinoa became globally popular as a modern superfood, but the plant itself has a much older history. Quinoa was cultivated in the Andes for centuries and became an important traditional food in South America. One reason nutrition researchers became so interested in it is simple. Quinoa is a complete protein. That means it provides all 9 essential amino acids in meaningful amounts. And unlike many grains, quinoa is actually a seed. You can cook it almost like rice. Use it as a base for a bowl. Add vegetables. Mix it with beans. Use it in salads. Or serve it alongside roasted vegetables. Before cooking quinoa, rinsing it is often recommended because the outer coating can contain naturally occurring saponins that may produce a bitter taste. Once rinsed and cooked properly, quinoa becomes a versatile protein-rich addition to meals. And now we're going to something very different. Number 7, moringa. Now we're entering surprising territory. Moringa has been used traditionally in parts of Africa and Asia for generations. The leaves are particularly interesting because they contain protein along with vitamins, minerals, and various plant compounds. Moringa is sometimes called a miracle tree, but let's be careful with that phrase. Moringa isn't a cure-all. No single plant can replace a balanced diet or medical treatment. What makes moringa interesting is its nutrient density. The leaves can be used fresh or dried. Moringa powder can be mixed into soups, sauces, smoothies, or other foods. But here's something many people don't realize. How you prepare a food matters. Drying, heating, storage, and processing can influence the amount of certain nutrients that remain available. So if you're using moringa powder, think of it as a nutritional ingredient, not a magic supplement. And now we're moving toward some of the most concentrated plant protein foods on this list. Number 8, lentils. Lentils may be one of the most underrated foods in the modern diet. They're inexpensive, they cook relatively quickly, and they're packed with protein, fiber, folate, iron, potassium, and other nutrients. Across history, lentils have appeared in traditional cuisines in many parts of the world, and there's even a famous biblical connection. In the book of Genesis, lentils appear in the story involving Esau and Jacob. That doesn't mean the biblical story is a scientific nutrition study, but it does remind us that lentils have been recognized as an important food for a very long time. And nutritionally, they have a lot going for them. You can turn lentils into soup, make a lentil curry, add them to rice, use them in salads, or blend them into a thick stew. And because lentils contain both protein and fiber, they can be particularly satisfying. But there's another ancient food coming up that takes plant protein to another level. Number 9, chickpeas. Chickpeas are one of the most versatile foods on this list. They're packed with protein and fiber and can become everything from hummus to soups, curries, salads, and roasted snacks. And there's a reason legumes have remained important across different cultures. They're affordable, they're filling, they're shelf-stable when dried, and they can be combined with grains to create satisfying meals. One of the simplest combinations? Chickpeas and whole grains. Think chickpeas with brown rice, chickpeas with whole grain bread, chickpeas with quinoa. These combinations provide a broader range of amino acids. And here's another important preparation tip. If you're cooking dried chickpeas, soaking them before cooking can help reduce cooking time and may improve digestibility for some people. Proper cooking is important too. You don't want to rely on undercooked legumes. And if you're using canned chickpeas, rinsing them can reduce some of the sodium from the packing liquid. Simple step, big difference. But if you. Number 10, hemp seeds. Hemp seeds have become increasingly popular, and for good reason. They're a concentrated source of plant protein and also provide healthy fats and minerals. What makes them especially interesting is that they contain all 9 essential amino acids. That makes hemp protein particularly useful for people looking to diversify their plant-based protein sources. And you don't need complicated recipes. Sprinkle hemp seeds over oatmeal. Add them to smoothies. Put them on salads. Mix them into soups after cooking. Or add them to a homemade energy bowl. But here's an important lesson. More protein isn't automatically better. Your body needs a balance of nutrients. Protein works alongside carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, minerals, and adequate calories to support normal body function. So don't think of hemp seeds as a miracle food. Think of them as a nutrient-dense ingredient that can make an already healthy meal even better. And now we're getting into some foods that have been staples of human diets for thousands of years. Number 11, chia seeds. They're tiny, but don't let their size fool you. Chia seeds are nutritional powerhouses. They contain protein, fiber, omega-3 fatty acids, minerals, and antioxidants. And there's a fascinating reason they became such an important traditional food. Chia seeds can absorb a significant amount of liquid and form a gel-like texture. That means they can help transform a simple meal into something more filling. You can add them to oatmeal, mix them into yogurt, blend them into smoothies, or soak them in liquid to make chia pudding. But there's one thing to remember. Because chia seeds are extremely rich in fiber, suddenly consuming large quantities can be uncomfortable for some people. Start gradually and drink enough fluids. And remember, chia isn't a replacement for every other protein source. It's one piece of a much bigger nutritional picture. Now let's move to a seed that has an even more impressive protein profile. Number 12, green peas. You might not think of peas as a serious protein food. They're small, sweet, and often treated as nothing more than a side dish. But peas are actually legumes, and that puts them in an entirely different nutritional category. A serving of cooked green peas provides protein along with fiber, vitamin C, vitamin K, folate, and several other nutrients. But there's something else interesting about peas. They're incredibly easy to incorporate into everyday meals. Add them to rice, mix them into soups, blend them into a vegetable spread, add them to pasta or salads. And because they're inexpensive and widely available, peas can be a practical way to increase the overall protein and nutrient density of a meal. However, don't make the mistake of thinking one food has to provide everything. The real nutritional power comes from variety. Pair peas with whole grains, beans, nuts, seeds, or other protein-rich foods, and you create a much more nutritionally complete meal. The big lesson, 18 to 1930. So what should you take away from these 12 foods? Not that plants are automatically better than meat. Not that you should eliminate animal foods. And definitely not that one superfood can transform your health overnight. The real lesson is much simpler. Protein comes from many places. Lentils, chickpeas, soybeans, peanuts, hemp seeds, quinoa, moringa, spirulina, lupin, black soybeans, and many other plants can contribute meaningful protein to your diet. But protein is only one part of nutrition. A healthy diet also needs vegetables, fruits, whole grains, healthy fats, adequate calories, vitamins, minerals, and enough variety. And for people trying to build muscle, protein intake works best alongside resistance training, sufficient energy, sleep, and recovery. How to get more from plant proteins, 1930 to 2030. And here's one final secret. Preparation matters. Soaking and properly cooking many legumes can improve texture and digestibility. Fermentation can change the nutritional characteristics of certain foods. Rinsing quinoa can improve its flavor. Combining legumes with grains can create meals with complementary amino acid profiles. And simply eating a variety of protein sources throughout the day can help you obtain the essential amino acids your body needs. You don't need to obsess over creating the perfect protein combination at every meal. Think bigger. Think about the entire day. Build variety into your diet. For thousands of years, people have relied on humble foods like beans, seeds, grains, and leaves to nourish their families. Modern nutrition science is now helping us understand why many of these foods have remained so valuable. So the next time you see a bowl of lentils, a handful of peanuts, a serving of quinoa, or some black soybeans, don't underestimate them. Sometimes powerful nutrition doesn't come in a fancy package. Sometimes it comes from the foods humanity has been eating all along. If you found this video useful, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share this video with someone who wants to eat healthier without making their diet complicated. And tell me in the comments, which of these 12 plant protein foods do you eat most often? Until next time, eat wisely, stay active, and take care of your body. Want a simple 30-day plan to help you or your aging parent build healthier daily habits while living with diabetes? Red Heart. I created the 30-day healthy aging plan for parents with diabetes to make healthy eating, gentle movement, hydration, sleep, and everyday wellness easier to follow. Blue Book, get your copy today. Backend index pointing right, check the link in the description below to learn more and get the PDF. Start small. Stay consistent. Eat well, live well, age well. Seedling Red Heart.